Hey everybody, Juan here. I was born and raised in Colombia, and I have been living in the Netherlands for the last 10 years. Unfortunately, I have suffered from some workplace discrimination. Maybe not as much as some other people, but I have had my share of incidents. I also know that the data world is super diverse. It's one of those positions where people are willing to relocate you to another culture, another country. And I've also been extremely lucky in terms of my employers. They have really been amazing. But I'm very passionate about the topic, and so I wanted to make a video about diversity. And more important for employers watching this video, can you really say that your organization is open to diversity? And for those of you applying to jobs, do you want to scan if a company it's fine with diversity, if you really have a good chance to get there, even if you're from another culture? Well, I believe there are three things we should discuss here. The first one comes with the application, the very first contact point. Now, the thing is, some companies, the moment that they see your name, your picture, they're just either completely gonna ignore your application. Some cases they're gonna have a valid reason to do it, like work permits, or it's more expensive, or God knows what. But the truth is, you are going to have some troubles if you come from a certain minority group getting into some companies. As a person looking for a job, you really have to think to yourself, am I getting extra points by having my name and last name present? Will I get points or not from having my picture somewhere in the CV? It's really tricky. What I can tell you is, well, companies where that's a thing, you also probably don't want to work there because even if you make it, they're not going to make your stay very pleasant. So instead of trying to fit in your CV, try to look for companies that truly appreciate diversity. And for companies, the question is, do you think anybody, regardless of their background, has an equal chance of getting in? Are you truly doing the selection process in a blind way, where you just truly focus on the skills and the competence of a person? And sure, I do know there are some legal things, and sometimes relocating somebody would be more expensive, but the truth is that uh, sometimes two people that are nationals of the same country that speak the language equally well, sometimes the one that has the minority background might get a smaller chance to get selected. So it's the first thing that you should think of as a company. The second thing is who becomes a manager. Now, especially in the data world, where there are plenty of opportunities for data people, I guess there is a good chance for a company to hire people no matter their background. But are they also getting promoted? Or is your cultural background something that is just gonna stop you? As somebody looking for a job, I do check the management of a company before applying and see if they have a certain number of minority people, if roughly half of them are women. I just want to make sure that whoever is in management got there for their skills and not because of, let's say, certain connection with the CEO, which is not that uncommon. Now, if that's how you want to run your company, that's completely fine. But as somebody who identifies with a different culture from where the place that they live, or if you want to call it as somebody that belongs to a minority inside of the country that they live, I am not interested in companies where I have the feeling I will never be able to progress no matter how hard I work. And sometimes you can say, yeah, because to be a manager, you need to speak the language really well, which is it can be a valid point, but just as an employer, make sure that that's not really masking your preference for only promoting certain groups of people. The third thing is, how is your diversity uh, portrayed as? Is it portrayed as a limitation or as an opportunity? If every time the topic that you belong to a certain culture comes up as a problem, as, ooh, you're gonna need to learn this, and you have an accent, and you, I don't know. I think you have plenty of examples already. If that's the case, well, you're not going to feel like you have permission to truly be yourself. And that the only way for you to thrive there is going to be to adapt or try to assimilate as much as possible, which for some people in my work, for me, it doesn't. I really like to be myself, have my accent, be cheerful, even listen the type of music I like to listen. That's just part of who I am, and that's, even though I'm very open to learning from other cultures, I hate it when my diversity is phrased as a limitation. On the other hand, there are some companies that see your, well, your other background as an interesting advantage. So they might think, oh, cool, you're from Colombia. You probably speak Spanish. We have some clients that appreciate that. Or you probably have some contacts in a different place of the world. Or you probably can, I don't know, whatever it is, and this is very much dependent on you. That could also be an attitude that companies have towards you. But I think my favorite, and maybe many people's favorite, is when your belonging to a certain group is not even relevant. Where people truly see you as an individual and not as part of a certain culture or as part of a certain race or as a certain gender or a sexual preference. Just I truly appreciate when companies see you as a person and they just don't put you in this bucket of this is our diversity hire. So in short, I discuss a lot to unpack. If you're an employee, well, if you're looking for a job, or if you're a company and you really care about diversity, check if one, everybody has the same chances of getting into a company, regardless of if they include a picture or if they look a certain way, or so on. Two, check management. Check if it looks like everybody has an equal chance of getting promoted. And this is a statistical thing because more often than not, most of the people in a certain territory are from the majority, as majority says. But I personally, based on where I am located, I expect at least 10% of management to be from a foreign country, based on exactly where I live. In your country, in your situation, that might be slightly different. And this is just a reflection. Once you get to a company, you can probably get the bigger picture. But just from checking their LinkedIn, you can maybe see this as an indication. And the third point is how they're phrasing your diversity. And this is something that you're only going to realize later on. To me, the ideal scenario is when diversity is almost ignored and they just treat you as an individual. But some people, they prefer diversity to be treated as a positive thing. And I can imagine that nobody likes when your source of diversity is always phrased as a limitation for you. So there you have it. I will be making more career videos, especially for people from data. And I know this one is a little bit uncharacteristic for this channel, but this is a topic I'm very passionate about. So I hope you enjoyed it, and see you in my other tutorials.